Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 94 of this awesome, amazing Osu Let's Play series. In the last episode, I talked about low BPM and just some important concepts regarding it and why it can be important to learn low BPM. And in this episode, I want to talk about local scores. So, just some healthy mindsets regarding the local leaderboard and sort of competing against your own scores rather than other people sometimes. And this might seem a little similar to the leaderboards episode, which I did in episode 79. So check that out in the top right corner. But I mostly want to talk specifically about local leaderboards and sort of competing against yourself rather than sort of always being in competition with other players. But before I get into this episode, I like to shout out as usual that I live stream every single day over at twitch.tv. So that will be linked in the description, but if you want to hang out with me or watch me play this game live or ask me questions, anything like that, please stop by, say hello. And also, bonus points if you tell me that you came from this Let's Play series. We'll be very happy to see you there. So before I start playing and talk about the local leaderboards and some mindset stuff, I want to show you guys where the local scores are saved in the OSU folder, so that in case you ever lose your local scores, you will know exactly what to do and how to check if you can recover them. So take you to my Windows Explorer. So this is for OSU stable, by the way. So after OSU Laser becomes the main client, then this won't really apply that much. But basically, you have two files that are important. So you have the scores.db file, which is all the way down here. And this has the data of the result screen and the actual score on the leaderboard, but it doesn't have the actual replay data. So if you don't really care about being able to watch your replays, then just back up this file every now and then, because you never know what might happen. And then this hidden folder named data, and then there's another folder named R, which I guess stands for replay. And these are all of the actual replay files. So the actual replay data, and you can see there's some duplicates of the same name usually. There's like OSG and OSR. Honestly, I don't really know the details. All I know is that all of your actual replay data is located in this folder. And yeah, if you ever want to back up your local leaderboards, then make sure you back up both the data folder and then also the scores.db. You can recover the scores.db through the data R folder. I think there's some ways to automate it, but basically if you open one of these files, then it'll open just like a typical replay OSR file. But it might take a long time to do it manually. I'm pretty sure there's some ways. You can probably look it up, but yes, that is outside the scope of my expertise, but hopefully that is helpful to understand how those files work. But yes, with that out of the way, some thoughts about local scores, and then also I think the nature of competition to some extent as well, and healthy improvement mindset. Okay, so I think what? How did I start a break? Wait, are you kidding me? I'm retrying. Oh, I think the slider is like so fast that if you start it late at all, then you end up slider breaking. Okay, anyway, so I think one of the scariest, maybe not scariest, but like biggest baits when it comes to mindset for improvement, sort of in general, is competing against others, or like your main driver for improvement being to beat others rather than to improve yourself. And this somewhat ties into the idea of ego. I've had some conversations with different players about basically playing the game, or like, okay, not actually wanting to improve, but rather wanting to seem to others as if you have improved, basically, for the sake of, social acceptance or something like that. And I think that is a big motivator behind, trying to, like, I guess, cheese for, like, good scores, rather than, learning things from the ground up and developing fundamental skills and actually, becoming like super epic god mode. Just like, okay, how can I put in the least amount of effort but still seem like I'm improving? And I think it's because, improvement, it looks cool. It's like impressive to see that someone has improved, right? But improvement admittedly does take a lot of effort, and sometimes it's like, you know, you just want to do it as fast as possible. So yeah, and I mean, in that sense, there's no wonder, I think, why a lot of people try to always look for the fastest way to improve when, you know, sorry to break it to you guys, but there's no shortcut to improvement. I think you just kind of have to suck it up sometimes, and you'll be surprised, as it turns out, actually dedicating yourself to improving something will actually solve your problems and make you better at them. So yes, let's see. So on the topic of local scores, why is this important? I think when you are only competing on your local scores, then there's no pressure of, I guess, social acceptance. Like, no one really cares if you have like 1,000 local scores on a map. Like, no one will know. I guess okay, actually, you might need to like play offline or play score v2 or something, because it'll show up in your most played. Okay, but that's besides the point. Okay. I think competing against yourself, and like, I think Sapphire Ghost put it this way, which is like, whenever you want to improve, you should try to see how you can improve yourself rather than how you can beat others. And that's usually a much healthier sort of approach to improvement in a general sense, because, well, I don't know, do I really need to explain it? Let me think of. I'm pretty sure that just makes sense. If you, yeah, I think if you're so focused on others, then you're okay. Improvement really, truly, I think, comes from within. And if you are so focused on the external result of improvement, which is to seem like you have improved and to seem very impressive to others, then I think that is it's a big bait, I think. Yeah, big bait. Don't get baited. Ultimately, you will improve the most if you focus on yourself and not what other people think about you. So with that in mind, also, I think looking at your local scores can be a lot more motivating as well. I think Spaza made a video about this, actually, talking about something similar. But like, when you have the global leaderboard on, you're literally looking at the best of the best, and like your score is inherently, or like sort of naturally, getting compared against the best of the best in the world. And you either ignore it or it just kind of consumes you, and it's like, oh my god, all these people that I'm just worse than. Imagine like in like normal skills, like every time you play a game of soccer or something, or like, okay, whatever. Okay, why did I say soccer? Let's get the most American example. Okay, you play basketball, okay, right? Basketball? I don't know if that's any better. Okay, but anyway, you play a sport game, and then after your game, it's like, okay, yeah, here's how you compare to literally the best people in the world. And it's like, okay, man, thanks. I think usually that's not how it works, right? Usually, and honestly, the implementation of global leaderboards that like everyone can see is actually really scary. I don't know, just like the effects that it has on like our perception of how good we actually are. Because sometimes you play a sport or something and you don't do that good, but you know, you do better than you have before, and I think that is where like little victories come in. But I think if you only have what is it? If you're comparing against the rest of the world, then even if you improve your score, it can be very easy to be like, oh, man, I'm still like, okay, I went from like 400 combo to 500 combo on this map, but like everyone has like 800 combo SS, okay, and I'm just nothing. I'm just nothing to them, okay. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully that sort of starts to paint a picture of how almost toxic it can be to always compare to the global leaderboards. And it kind of takes the aspect of improvement, or sometimes the fun in this game, takes it away from, you know, personal accomplishment, and it just moves it to, you know, can you beat the best in the world? And if not, then you're just below them. And like, Okay, the easiest leaderboard to get #1 on is the local ones, and then also I think that's like the most personally satisfying to sort of always be competing against your previous self. Yeah, I think it's very hard to visualize your improvement when you never look at the local rankings, because oh wait, cut streams, what's going on? This map's going crazy. I thought this was a simple generic map. Oh my god. Okay. Anyway. Yeah, I think it's actually really important to be able to visualize your improvement and progress and like sort of look back on how you have done as an individual, sort of like kind of over time. And when you have the other leaderboards open, it can be like you only see your personal best, and like if you don't sort of remind yourself of where you came from, then it can be actually really easy to forget. So yeah, long story short, oh, spinner. Oh man, I didn't mean to click off of the anyway, so yeah, I would suggest if you don't check your local leaderboards that much. Honestly, I think a lot of people do, which is really nice. But you know, if you don't have the habit of like either leaving your local leaderboard on or just like checking it every now and then after you play a map. And also, okay, one forewarning. Okay, so if you only ever leave your local leaderboard on, then it can actually, okay, so your game might not know if a map is ranked, and if the game client doesn't know that a map is ranked, then it might actually not submit the score. So you can tell by the icon in the top left corner if it has like the little blue arrow thingy or whatever, or if it's loved, then you know the pink heart icon. But you want to make sure your game knows that the map is ranked, otherwise it's not going to submit your score. So yes, with that in mind, let's see, nature of competition. Okay, I would suggest you guys check out Sapphire Ghost's profile. There's this piece named The Nature of Competition, and in it he basically talks about, let me think of how to summarize it. Basically, like OSU tournaments and how, you know, while they can be fun as like a sort of friendly thing to see like who, you know, oh, you know, who's going to get a higher score, haha. But once it becomes sort of, I don't know, like once people get too into it, then it sort of loses the fun of being like, oh, you know, this player is bad because they like didn't get a perfect score in the match or whatever. And it also talks about how there's like a lot of I think courage that's necessary to sort of put your performance out there publicly, like in the World Cup, for example, which was the context of the piece that Sapphire Ghost wrote. But yeah, I don't know. Long story short, we can all take something from just the idea of focusing on yourself, and you'll be amazed at how much easier it is to improve when you don't have like, I don't know, pressure, social pressure almost, of like, even if it's subconscious, like comparing yourself to others. Because usually like your perception of if a score is good is usually very relative to what other people have done. I think that's usually how people get their perception of if something is good or not in the first place. And yeah, I don't know, just wanted to sort of throw that out there. Like if you've ever thought about like, I don't know, maybe you like used to improve a lot back when you didn't really care about like scores, or like didn't really know how PP worked or something like that, and then like once you started thinking about it and like have this sort of construct of what is considered good and what is considered not good, then that sort of starts to define your limits and boundaries, and honestly even just create limits and boundaries for yourself in the first place. That I think the cool thing about the local leaderboard is that like the quote-unquote limit or like score to beat is just whatever you have done in the past, rather than, I think, yeah, there's something called the banister effect, where basically like the current limit of, okay, just because no one has ever done something doesn't mean that no one will ever be able to do something, basically. So basically the idea behind the banister effect is like, if no one has ever broken a certain barrier before, then like it might seem like it's just not possible, but then like once one person does it, then it shifts everyone else's mindset or view of that barrier to then being something that can actually be broken. And this is something that so the term originated in like being able to like run a mile in, or a meter in like 4 minutes or something like that. It can apply a lot to stuff like speed running, like breaking a certain minute barrier, or even in Osu, right? Being able to FC a map with like a certain mod combo, or like FC a map period, or just like get a better score than someone else, right? So yeah, long story short, I think the local leaderboard helps a lot to not set those artificial like mental barriers on yourself, and that I think just encourages a much healthier mindset and approach to just the game and improvement in general. But I don't know, just some quick thoughts, a bit of a ramble about local scores and competition and things like that, mindset sort of also. But hopefully you found this somewhat helpful. Let me know in the comments. And speaking of comments, let me know as well if you guys have suggestions for future episodes, because I do read all the comments on these videos. And check out my channel also for other videos I do upload every single day. And stop by my Twitch streams, and just all the things. Okay, check out all the things. Go to the description, subscribe to the channel, click all the links, follow me on Twitter. Okay, I don't know. But yes, with that, see you guys next time.